this is a park that I kind of want to talk a little bit more about in depth, because it's a park I definitely don't seem to agree with the majority of the community. I don't know, does this have a score yet? I don't think it does. Yeah, no. Only a 77% rating. That's, I guess. But we'll talk about that. Alright, so this is Treasure Island by BSG or Big Shooter Gill. Then another park from him that's kind of built in an old school style. She's definitely, I don't know what the word would be, but focused on recently, I guess. This is probably the, I don't know, the best attempt at that, I guess. I should say the best, not the best attempt at being an old school style, but the best park that he's made so far in that style. Yeah. I think there are like 2 or 3 things that really kill this park. One being the color choice. It's just terrible in a lot of areas. 2, I don't want to say like the coasters, but kind of like the coasters, I guess. And then 3 would be like the contradiction that comes with the style that he's building in kind of the parks that he's creating, to where he doesn't really like care. I mean, some of this architecture is really good, but I mean, it's not like amazing. Like, it's not gonna wow you. Like, I think some people compare this to JK's work, or like an early artist, which those parks worked because at the time this style of architecture was really impressive, whereas now it's kind of just like standard. Like, it's not really that impressive, so you don't really have the aspect of, wow, this is really good architecture. I mean, some of it's good, but like as a big picture, like, it's not impressive, I should say. To where a lot of those older parks at the time, they were very impressive architecturally, so you had a very you had a multi-faceted appeal in the park. Whereas this, I think this park focuses more on the micro details, which is kind of just the way stuff is now. People don't really picture or care about the big picture quite as much. Like, this isn't really a concept park, it's just an ideas park, kind of like Fred's park. He doesn't have like a thing that he wants to accomplish with the park. He just, he wants to build, which is, I mean, it's fine. I think it doesn't really make the park as impressionable, and it kind of doesn't really make the park as memorable. I guess I'll talk about things I do like. I really do like this area, actually. I really like all the ruins he's done, and the foliage he has, and some of these buildings are good. They're good when they need to be. The one thing I do not like is this path. Oh my god, this path is terrible. Like, I can't even, it just makes it hard to look at this. Like this, I don't even know what it's called. The path is pretty bad. And then I guess it's kind of just like a limitation of the objects he's using, but I don't like I guess it happens a lot in this park, but he uses these bricks a lot, which is fine, but then he has like these textureless roofs, textureless areas that just kind of really mess with the area. I think like if you had, I don't know, a more textured object on the top of all these bricks, like it would, or maybe even just like a different color that doesn't blend so much with the path in the facades of the objects. Like I think it would look a lot better. Because in this, it is kind of, it's so textureless compared to everything else. It just stands out. So your focus immediately goes to the flat, textureless roofs and tops of all these objects, which makes it really kind of harder to look at, I guess. I think as a whole, like if he, I think this is like the best stuff that he's done in this style, like this area here. And I think if he elaborated more on this and kind of refined it a little bit more and focused more on the big picture of the park rather than just, you know, building a park with the ideas, that it would come together a lot more. Now for the rest of the park, like he has some good ideas. Like I do like how like the invert breaks to this wall, but I think it could have been done a little bit cleaner. Like he has some supports they're just showing here, which I don't know why. This is an OpenRTT thing. I don't really like how the area is kind of walled off as well. Kind of breaks the flow of the area and kind of, I don't know. I don't really like big walls like this in parks. Surrounding areas, I don't know, something about them just doesn't really work for me. But yeah, I think he's kind of relying on this, like trying to unify these areas with like a few colors, like this is the purple area, or this is the orange, or this is the cyan, or this is the brown and green, you know, like he has these color choices. I wish he would be a little bit more variant, or oh my god, I wish we would be a little bit more liberal with this color use and not just rely on like 2 or 3 colors for a whole area, because I think it would really help the areas. Like, 'cause, I mean, what he has is good for the most part, but just the colors just really just like, just make it feel like this simple and like bad. I don't know. It's not bad. It just kind of really brings it down. I think he would have. And if he had color choice like similar to something like Artists or Turtle had in their parts of this style, I guess that it would work a lot better. But in its current state, I think the colors really bring it down a lot. Because everything here is purple, and it just, I don't know, it just messes with your eyes. I think the foliage in this part is actually really, really good. He's definitely a master of landscaping and foliage, that's for sure. I don't know, like this architecture isn't bad, it's just like nothing special, which I think a lot of these older parks in this style, the architecture was special, and that's why, I mean, people respected it so much. I don't think he really has that here because, one, it's building an old style park, and architecture has gotten better, you know, in 10 years, so. But he has some like cool ideas, and I think he has the ideas down. He just has to focus on the park as a whole too, and kind of refining his color choices as well. I'm not a fan of the colors as well at all. Like everything in this is blue and purple and black. Like, I think he could do a lot better than just making every building the same color in the entire area. But I mean, there's lots of content in this park, and for what's there, it's well made, but I don't think it's anything that's that impressive as a whole. I mean, for one, he's building a style that's 10 years old, so I mean, I don't know. Is it even possible to be impressive when you're building a style that's 10 years old? I don't know. I mean, there's a reason people don't build like that anymore because they evolve from that, you know. I think he's a talented builder to where I don't know why he keeps. I mean, I'm sure if he enjoys it, then that's fine. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I think he could do a lot better if he would develop his own style rather than just trying to branch off of something that's was, you know, in this style 10 years ago. Well, that's the thing too, is that I don't think people understand. Like, people never did this in old parks. I mean, not at least not the good one. Like here, I'll pull up some old parks and kind of talk about what I mean. I mean, he has some good details, but I don't know. I think he kind of missed fired on the park style as a whole to where. I mean, it's still a good park, but I don't think it's. I mean, it's kind of like the silver gold range for me. I definitely don't think it's a mid or high gold, but oh my god, I can't. I don't really like this area at all. No, the colors. It's just kind of hard to look at, but. So let's look at some old parks that maybe we can. We can kind of talk about what I mean. BL Magic. Oh god, I don't know if this is a good example, but like, man. I don't know if this is a really good comparison. This area is so ripped off of RFB. I think one thing you notice immediately here is that it's not as micro in scale, it's more macro. Like he has, I think in this park, he does have like a lot of unifying color schemes, but it's not to the point where it's like bringing the area down. Like colors work, and there's enough variety within the colors that I think it kind of works okay, although I don't understand why he's trying to texture here, but if like you look at this, there's not a million small buildings, kind of like a few large structures. You know, a few large structures, a few larger structures. And you can see like these areas are approached. Oh my god, this entrance area, I've always hated this entrance area, but it's approached more as a whole rather than the details aren't as important. And this architecture for the time was really impressive, where I don't think the architecture that BSG did was impressive as this was. Now, I mean, I think there's just a lot more creativity in the park making here as well. Not to say there isn't, but I think it's one of the things that really keeps this special is the creativity. Although I'm not really much of a fan of this park. You can see, like, I don't know, like the coaster seems to be the focus of the area, and it's really well framed. And he builds the area around the coaster. He doesn't build the coaster in the area. And it kind of works. He doesn't have a million buildings just for building's sake. He has them where he needs them. And they all have a purpose, and they all have a function, and they all, you know, can display that function. I don't really like this park, so let's look at something else. Alright, so this is, I guess this could be a fair comparison, maybe. This is the Masterpiece by X250. I actually quite like this park. I think yeah, you can look at this for 3 seconds and understand the kind of difference in approach, which is okay to have a different approach, but I think part of this style is having these, you know, grand areas and buildings and not just having micro details and compact areas. I mean, the creativity and the architecture and the park making is just on a different level. I mean, that's okay. I mean, not like direct comparison, but I don't know. I think people misinterpret older parks a little bit, at least in my opinion. They kind of say, "Oh, man, it's fine. You know, this is what people used to build like." Yeah, this kind of gets a little bit more out of control. But yeah, I mean, you can see that he's using like a few colors in this area, but it doesn't come to the point where it's like distracting. Like that's what it is. But it's not so busy that it kind of like is hard to look at as well. I think this is probably the best area, is the pastel area. I don't know, it just feels a little bit easier to look at, and there's more space for it to breathe, and that's a cool stuff. Oh my god, never missed that building, but yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell like what the difference is in these buildings, which I mean, it's fine to have it different, but I don't know. I feel like if you're updating an old style, you should try to improve it, and I don't know if he really does that or achieve that in a way, because he trades it off. He trades off the big picture, this grand architecture, and these grand areas and epic feeling of this park style for, you know, micro details and object density. Which is fine. I mean, he has his own style, but I don't know. It doesn't really work for me in a way. I think terrain too. Like, he doesn't really have much. I mean, he has some, but not really to the extent that X250 has in this park, which is fine. I mean, but let's look at Forza Magica or Islands of Enchantment. Islands of Enchantment with the Center Lake, yeah. This is probably the most comparable to his style with all the pirate stuff. I guess I should look up, what is it, Paradise Island by Faceman? Yeah, I mean, immediately you look at this and you say, wow, he has like wide paths and grand architecture, and it's so you can focus on it and see the architecture. You don't like get distracted by how dense it is. He doesn't have a building everywhere you need. He just has some place where it would be necessary not just to have a building. He puts more focus into the buildings themselves rather than just, you know, having a bunch of buildings. You know, it's kind of quality over quantity. Yeah, I mean, he has like a castle theme. It's a little bit better in this. For the invert, has a little bit more interaction, which I mean, it's a strong. I like that area a lot, except for like how the fact that the walls go around the entire area kind of just feels a little bit breaks the flow. It's like Rivers of Babylon all over again. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell. I'm not the biggest fan of these parks, really. Bardas or Turtle that much, but they're good parks. Where's Parris Island by Faceman? Like even this, you can tell. Like I think he has a lot of density in this, but the individual buildings have more. This is kind of even like in between, I guess. But the buildings have a little bit more focus on them, not just having a bunch of them. I don't know. I think that this park is more impressive than BSG's park. I mean, they're both, obviously not. I wouldn't say rip-offs, but they're both definitely heavily inspired by this sort of style and the themes that people use in this style. And I think people just don't care as much anymore because the park's 10 years old and not 3 years old. So people aren't going to be like, oh, it's just copying, I don't know why this railway has 5,000 trains on it. Jesus. Legacy Steam Park is what, 6 years old? I don't think even Legacies is kind of a different vein. It's more like the Paulism style than not hashtag, but quotes any style. And I'm actually a really big fan of this park. I think he has a good balance between having enough detail but not focusing so much on the detail where he kind of loses the big picture. Just has detail in building just to have them. It's a little bit small, sure, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think the Turtle Oriental area is a lot stronger. What is it? Turtle. Port. No. Pair. No. Is it Islands of Enchantment? That one we just looked at. I'm not a big fan of Ports of Magic at all. Oh, God. The only thing I hate about this park is that it doesn't go all the way around. That really bothers me. And you can see, like, this is a very similar sort of approach. Well, I don't even know if you can see that, but I don't know. He has enough space between his stuff, enough space for it to breathe to where you can actually focus on it and not just get distracted by it like this color. I don't know, I don't like this area at all. The Rapids has always been nice, but it's just too wildly colored, too bright. Use like more lighter pastel colors rather than like the neons that he's using. But yeah, I guess we should look at, if we look at let's go back to Treasure Island just for a second. Like immediately, this is just like high density. Maybe this is a foliage that makes it feel a little bit too busy, but I don't know. He doesn't really like having like these open areas of path. Like he always has to feel like he has to fill them with something. Like here and like here, and if you were to allow park more space to breathe, I think it would help a lot. I don't know. I think he does a little bit better job in this, but I think the color choice in this is just really not that great, so it really hurts. Just so much gray and black. Let's look at what is it? Dream Port. I mean, if you want to say this is a kind of a comparison to BSG, I think this, for one, the architecture is a lot more impressive, and it's more about the architecture in this. And if you see, like, his parks are more about having nice facades rather than just having nice buildings. If that makes sense, because they're kind of not really buildings. Like, it's almost like one structure, just have, you know, a bunch of different facades on them. Some of these areas are terrible, but I should not say areas, but some of the structures are kind of terrible. But I don't know, he has a little bit more variety within the areas as well, where I think it helps. These parts are always kind of a mess, I think. I don't know, I've never really been the biggest fan of this part. Kind of just feels like a mess. Feels like great stuff, but doesn't really come together. Like, why does he have, like, what? It's the sign for the park, then he has backstage behind, like, what? And this, he has the sign for the coaster on the wrong side, like, only people would be in the queue, like, right over here, be able to see it. Why doesn't he have it here? So everyone, like, I don't know. He does that all the time. Puts the signs on the wrong side of the station. So yeah, let's just go back to Treasure Island for a second here. So yeah, I mean, it's a good park, but I don't think. I guess I get the update. Oh, he's updating this old style. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I like the update. I think this style, you know, a lot of the things that make that style impressive and special is things that we don't really look at today. Things we kind of forget about. So, you know, I really kind of ignore some of the things that I think are important to that style a little bit. I don't know. Sue me. Yeah, I mean, this park is 65 to 70 for me, I think. I wish he would focus less on, you know, having a million nice buildings than having instead like a few really good ones. And I think his color choice needs to be, maybe not so much like color, but texture choice as well. I wish he would done some more time on, because it's just kind of distracting a lot of these areas, especially like this one. Like, this is probably it's a good area, but it's just like the colors are just terrible. But a lot of this is an improvement, I think, over his other work. So. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it kind of leads us to feeling a little bit forgettable. Just formulaic, I guess, is a word that I use a lot. We just like building, 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 put a building everywhere, and I don't know. Use like one color for this much, and then one color for this. Like, I don't know. I think all park making now feels a little bit formulaic, no matter what style it is. At least in RCT2, I should say. Oh my god, Liam, you missed me ranting about this. You'll have to watch the video and comment and subscribe. Yeah, I mean, he has some nice ones, but when you have like a nice idea for a building, you make it a focus of the little area, not just like another one. Like he has so many buildings here that it kind of there's not enough space for you to recognize the good ones, or everything kind of just blends together so much. I think it's just too dense. I wish we would have built a larger scale as well. Scale kind of feels like a lot of that old style was a large scale to kind of make it feel like more epic. I don't know if it really works here because nothing really feels epic or impressive. Okay, enough about this park. We'll talk about something else. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier a little bit, like the texture. There's a lot of bad texture choice. Which is fun that he's trying to be unique and use some new ones, but I don't know. At this point, I feel like some textures shouldn't be used for a reason. So, like these paths. Oh god. All right. Yes.